right, ladies, saddle up.
She's a woman, but she still manages to make that sound like an insult.
Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Movie adaptations of video games have typically been pretty awful. So when I heard there was a live-action Monster Hunter movie coming to the big screen, I was skeptical to say the least. Monster Hunter is a gaming franchise that I will always hold near and dear to my heart. I played a good handful of games in the series, but none have matched my affinity for Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PSP. I've spent almost 2,000 hours on just that game. I've always considered it probably one of my favorite video games of all time, and it's easily the most time I've ever spent into a game. Every weekend, me and one of my best friends I would consider like a brother to me would go over to either his house or mine to just play Monster Hunter together all weekend, from sun up to sundown, only taking breaks to eat or sleep, and we did this for years. Even playing solo to grind further to completing the game. We had to be the G-ranked Hunters of Legends. I mean, I soloed Ukenloose, which is something I still consider one of my greatest gaming achievements in my life. The thing I love so much about Monster Hunter is the grind to power, something I normally hate in other games, but in this series it's so well balanced that it's not only challenging, but it's rewarding to grow without feeling impossible. Every time you kill that giant monster, it feels like a true feat. The amount of adrenaline I would get from that objective clear cutscene with the triumphant music after a long onslaught battle has been unmatched in any other game. The core gameplay of Monster Hunter is you start off small and build up to legendary monsters that are truly intimidating. You craft or upgrade new armor and weapons by collecting items or killing monsters to hopefully get the item that you need for that awesome new sword or armor set to help you advance further into the game. The stories to the game are pretty much always there's some big monster terrorizing something and you need to kill it when you're ready. It's simple because the main focus of these games is solely on the gameplay. The thrill of tracking down that monster, having an epic boss fight with it, then building the kick-ass armor set out of its dead remains. To me, Monster Hunter has always shined the brightest as a co-op game. To coordinate with friends to take down giant monsters is so satisfying and fun. Me and my buddy had Freedom Unite down to a science. We worked as a well-oiled machine to take down literally every monster in the game multiple times to craft whatever we wanted. We were decorated hunters, and the fact that I sold off my PSP along with Monster Hunter will forever haunt me as one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. So many hours wasted. With my love of the franchise, I knew going into this film I should go in with an open mind. Try not to think about the games, but only what the movie presents. When I found out Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich was involved, I became curious because this is the same team that made the Resident Evil movies, and I actually really enjoy those. Now, with a grain of salt, I am not a fan of the Resident Evil games, but to me the movies were just fun popcorn flicks that made for good background noise. Then I saw that Tony Jaa hopped on the project along with Ron Perlman.
Amen, Jesus.
And the release of the first image for this movie made me pretty excited. It looked like Monster Hunter. Then the army image was released. With that one image, every bit of steam was taken out of me. Monster Hunter is a game in a series set in a different world and time. Why would the military be involved? That seems so stupid. Then I watched the trailer, and while the CGI and the monster designs looked incredible and faithful, I just kept thinking about how stupid it was to include a modern military, not to mention the idea of dimensional portals. With all this new information, I was no longer excited about the film, but I knew I was gonna watch it. Yo, what's crack-a-lackin'? Today we're playing Modern Dredge. I was between a couple modern decks to practice for the tournament. The tournament I'm going to is the Apex Gaming Series tournament, the August 12th and 13th. If you want to, I don't know. I don't think you'd want to come meet me, but I'm going to that. So if you see me, say hello. But it sounds like a fun tournament. It's a 5K Modern, a 2K Pioneer, and they also have Popper side events on Saturday and Two-Headed Giant on Sunday for side events. And I think they have other side events. I think they have like a Legacy one too. What's up, White Lotus? Good morning. Good morning, Magic the Gathering. Does anyone reference that? Know that reference. Anyway, we're playing Dredge because I was between going into this tournament. I was between 8-Rack, Dredge, and Domain Zoo. Now, my Domain Zoo list I have in paper is not the current list, so I would just try my current list to see how it does. I'm going to do that eventually, but I asked the Discord community which one they would want to see, and they voted Dredge. Dredge is a huge fan of this deck. I decided not to go with Dredge because of the mana base. I don't have a lot of the current mana base, but excuse me, this is a cheaper version that 5-0'd recently on Goldfish, and so really I would only have to buy the City of Brass and the Gemstone Caverns, and I think I have pretty much everything else. So I'm debating of trying this one out, but also, like, I haven't played Dredge in a while, so I don't know how well it's positioned. I know for a while they were running City of Brass, Mana Confluence, and Gemstone Caverns in the main, going on the play game 1, sideboarding out Gemstone game 2, then coming back in game 3. So if you don't know what the deck is, let's go over it. We're kind of a Jeskai deck with white and black. I mean, black kind of being here. This used to be a rainbow deck. It used to run Life of the Loam and stuff. Recently, Life of the Loam has been out, which I find is kind of an interesting thing. But this deck is kind of more of a pseudo combo deck, really. So what do we got going on? Well, let's just talk about our mana base real quick. We have 3 Arid Mesas, 3 Bloodstained Mires, and 2 Scalding Tarns for our fetch lands. We're going to thin our deck out. We need to fetch up our colors. We need really our colors. And with this build of the deck, we really only need 2 lands. Before, you really wanted like 2 or 3 lands. This deck, 2 is really all you need. But you want these lands to tap for certain things. We have, to fetch up, we have 1 Blood Crypt, 2 Sacred Foundries, and 3 Steam Vents. It's important to know that every land we have should tap for red. We'll get over that in a second. Every land should tap for red. We have City of Brass, which can tap for any color. So that's our mana base for City of Brass to round it out. That's our mana base. Pretty simple. Well, what are we doing? We are abusing the Dredge mechanic. We want to dredge as much as possible. Thus, we have some big Dredge cards. We have 4 copies of Stinkweed Imp, which is a Dredge 5. 3 copies of Golgari Thug, which is a Dredge 4, the second largest dredger that's currently legal in the format. And we have 4 copies of Dark Blast, which can dredge 3. What is Dredge? Dredge is, if you were to draw a card, instead you may mill Dredge X, the number of the dredge cost, mill your cards into the graveyard, and then return the dredger from the graveyard to your hand. Used it a lot in Tortured Existence. I've played Dredge a bunch on the channel before in Modern. It's a mechanic near and dear to my heart. And what you do is you use accelerants such as Cathartic Reunion, Thrilling Discovery, Otherworldly Gaze, to Psycho Blast through your graveyard as much as possible. So what do these cards do? Well, we have Cathartic Reunion, which is additional cost to cast a spell, discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards. So the idea is you discard 2 dredgers, and then you dredge all 3 draw spells. Up to 15 cards in the graveyard off of 1 Cathartic Reunion. Thrilling Discovery does exactly the same thing, except for you also gain 2 life, and it's a little bit weirder on the mana, being both white and red. I know I said that backwards. We also have other ways to fill up our graveyard. We have Otherworldly Gaze, which really helps us filter. It also has Flashback, which is worth noting. So if we mill it over, we can flash back. We can filter Otherworldly Gaze pretty good. We also have 2 copies of Tome Scour, which I find to be really interesting in this deck. It mills 5. You just mill yourself 5. You get a Stinkweed Inch Dredge off of it. So you may be asking yourself, okay, we're going to mill ourselves. What's the payoff? The payoff is the rest of the deck. We have 4 copies of Narcomoeba that when it's put into the graveyard from your library, you may put it on the battlefield. It's a 1/1 flyer. Not crazy, but still good. We also have Silver Smoot Ghoul that at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You can also tap 2 to sacrifice it to draw a card, which can trigger a dredge. We have Prized Amalgam, probably one of the creatures in the deck, that whenever this creature enters the battlefield, if it entered from the graveyard, or cast it from your graveyard, return Prized Amalgam from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So if it sees Narcomoeba or Silver Smoot Ghoul enter in the battlefield from the graveyard, it also comes back. Multiple copies, multiple comebacks. We have Creeping Chill, that when it's milled from our deck to the graveyard, it deals 3 damage to the opponent and we gain 3 life. This can just end a game abruptly. Mix that with Silver Smoot Ghoul, it comes back from the graveyard, and then mix that with Prized Amalgam, you have a nice little army. Sa, dude, what's up, bull? Our last cards of the deck is Ox of Agonas and Conflagrate. Ox of Agonas is the accelerant of the deck. As it enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. You dump your hand of whatever you got. Ox of Agonas goes wild, and it comes back as a 4/2 for 2. I guess a 5/3 for 2, because it escapes. It's very, very easy to quickly build up your graveyard, and then just Ox of Agonas, and that will normally close out the game, because if you go like turn 2 Cathartic Reunion, and you get to dredge 15 off a Stinkweed Imp, then you Ox of Agonas, you get to dredge 15 again, you're about out of your deck, and that should probably just about be game. Then we have Conflagrate. Conflagrate is just a nice little finisher. Conflagrate deals X damage as you divide among any targets with flashback 2 red, discard X cards. So basically, if you have any dead cards in your hand, you can Conflagrate to face to just close out the game. Kind of acts as a burn spell, but it could be a board wiper if need be. But most of the time, it goes to the face. To deal with our opponent's board, we have Dark Blast. Ragavan is very obnoxious for this deck, so Dark Blast works very nicely. And that's our main deck. Well, what do we got going on the sideboard? This is a deck that is much better on the play than on the draw. Much better. So we have 4 copies of Gemstone Caverns to bring in. I think we just hard replace City of Brass. I don't know, but it feels like that's what we do. Is just hard place City of Brass for Gemstone Caverns. So the idea is you have this in your starting hand, and then turn 1 you have 2 mana to Cathartic Reunion out of the gate. You also have 3 copies of Wear Tear, because something that is very obnoxious is Graveyard Hate. Which I think is interesting because we don't have access to green. So Ancient Grudge was a long-term use of Wear Tear, but now we're Wear Tearing, so there's that. We have 2 Leyline of the Voids for any kind of graveyard mirror matchup. 4 Leyline of Sanctities, because it's worth noting that a good handful of Graveyard Hate is a target ability. So Leyline of Sanctity can really help that out. And then 2 portable holes to deal with the annoying creatures that we have a hard time with, like Dothy Voidwalker, Sanctifier Invect, stuff like that. But it also, I mean, it really deals with any other permanent value 2 or less, but that's also one it can deal with. It is worth noting that there are Planeswalkers that we don't really have a good way to deal with that can completely derail our plan. I can't think of what it is. It's one of the Ashioks, I know that. So that's worth noting. So let's get into some games. Let's see how Dredge runs in 2023. It's been, I think I might have played this since 2023, but we'll see how it runs here. We shall see. This is a deck worth noting that it can mulligan Moke-ish. We have double land. We have Ox in hand, which I'm not a fan of, but we do have Otherworldly Gaze, and we do have Dark Blast. We could get into the graveyard. I don't hate this hand. I don't love this hand. So the question is, when you're playing Dredge, is do you have an accelerant? And we don't really have an accelerant right now, but we do have, like I said, Otherworldly Gaze. So we could Bloodstain Mire for... Our mana's a little weird, Blood Crypt too. But we could fetch up Steam Vent for Otherworldly Gaze, and we could potentially start going off that way. We also have Dark Blast we could target a creature with. That could start our engine. So I think this is a reluctant... you know what? I think we can do better. I'm going to mulligan this. Much better right out of the gate. Cool. Well, worked out for us. Keep this. I'm going to bottom one of the redundant lands. And boom. There's a red card in your hand that has to be positive. Right? This is the better hand for sure. Like I said, we have the accelerant. We have the Otherworldly Gaze, so we can start doing our thing. go get his steam vents here. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. No Metalcraft creature yet. So I'm worried. Yeah, you won't see a lot of Metalcraft in this format, that's for sure. Dredge up Dark Blast. Let's fetch up. I'm gonna get the Sacred Foundry here, which turns off our black mana, but that's not the game plan we're currently on. Dredge. 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 There we go. Alright, well, we hit our Creeping Chill. Deals 3 damage. We hit our Narcomoeba. Always yes. Always come back. And then we hit 2 Prized Amalgams. And that's it. Nothing too crazy there, but we have Cathartic Reunion to turn 2 to go again. Oh, we did hit a Silver Smoot Ghoul? Cool, I didn't realize we hit one. I must have looked over it in the graveyard. Sucks they enter in tap, but it is what it is. So turn 2, we have 10 power on the board, and we burn them for 6. It's not guaranteeing we're going to win, but it feels pretty good. If we had an Ox in the graveyard, I'd feel like we'd probably win. Holy smokes, I wish there was something like this in Pauper. Me too. It would be broken without like board wipers and stuff, but no, you don't, Bull. Yes, he does. Don't know what our opponent's on just by playing Stomping Ground Lightning Bolt. But it feels good that we can really like dredge up a storm next turn. And then we also have Conflagrate in the graveyard. So my guess is they probably are Zoo with their current deck. They're down to 4. Deal 4 damage to you to win the game. Turn 3 kill. Right? They could have something here. Maybe with weenie targets, of course. Nothing too overpowered. That was it. Alright, they probably have Graveyard Hate. Gemstone Caverns coming in. We're going to go out the City of Brass, try that plan. The question is, what kind of Graveyard Hate are they going to have? It's also worth noting there's a staff or something that's a target too. So the question is like, what Graveyard Hate are they going to have? And we didn't see anything. Excuse me. So I think we just play as is and just try to get underneath any kind of feat. If we find out they have like Leyline of the Void, we just wear and tear. So we do have a lot of cantrips. We do have a lot of creatures, so it's not like we can't just play creatures. But that's, our creatures kind of suck if you don't abuse the dredge system. Yeah, we're just gonna put in the Gemstone Caverns and see what they have. I'm sure the OPs enjoyed all your game interactions. This isn't quite solitaire, but it's not too bad. Did you good luck have fun with the turn? No, I didn't, because that just feels rude. Dredge is probably the deck outside of 8-Rack I have the most experience with in Magic, period. I've played this deck for a long time in Modern. And with Modern, I pretty much have only had really 2 decks that I've consistently played, which is 8-Rack and Dredge. I tried out Blue-Red Storm because it was cheap to build and didn't like it. I also tried a Death Shadow variant that I wasn't a big fan of either. So I've played other Modern decks in paper, But Dredge and 8-Rack are the ones I had the most experience with. They're also the ones I've had the best success with. Dredge, I won a Modern Masters Win-A-Box tournament. And then with 8-Rack, I won a tournament where the top end was a choice between a couple like high-end cards. And I chose a foil Thoughtseize to add to my 8-Rack deck. Not had as much success with anything else. This is not horrendously bad, but it's also not very good. So you can turn 1 Conflagrate to get Conflagrate in the graveyard to, you know, start getting dredgers in there, but I think we mulligan this. This is not very good either. Let's go to 5. This is better. Keep this. Bottom 1. So we Gemstones Caverns. We could try to Otherworldly Gaze for another land here. Bottom the Steam Vents. Try to Otherworldly Gaze for another land to turn 1 Cathartic Reunion. I'm going to try that. No. Damn it. I fucked up. No, it was supposed to be 1 Gemstone Caverns, exile, and the other Gemstones Caverns. Our opponent's probably like, what is happening? It's like super misclick there. Well, that probably lost us the game, actually. Yeah, it was supposed to be Gemstones Cavern, exiles, the other Gemstones Cavern. Well, let's see what happens here. Put it in the graveyard, put it into the graveyard, put on top. We want our second land, so I'm just going to natty draw this land and pass. We can activate Otherworldly Gaze again here and then start picking up Golgari Thug if we wanted to. We could just draw something. But yeah, it's not looking great. Yeah, that was misclicking on my end for sure. Not being 100% positive of like how that works, I guess. Fetch you. I'm just gonna get a Sacred Foundry. Doesn't really matter that much. Gonna Otherworldly Gaze here. Just gonna play Golgari Thug in case they have a Ragavan they're flashing in. And if they want to spend a lightning bolt of this, I'm okay with that because we just get it back. We could have accelerated a lot quicker by now, but that mess up. I was thinking like I put one gemstones onto the field and then I'm ditching the other gemstones for that gemstones. Then I think we would have been fine. Like I honestly think we would have just like rocketed it off and been completely fine, but it's not how this ended up going. They want to attack into this. I'm cool with that. I really hate this Fable of the Mirror card. I find it super obnoxious. It's one of those cards that just has too much going on for it. I don't like the power level of it. As I'm doing degenerate things with Dredge. Of course, you know. We need to hit... Oh, that's good. Well, we didn't really hit anything with it, right? Well, rumor has it that optimal play is optional. Right? We have Otherworldly Gaze, and we can get Dark Blast back into the graveyard at the upkeep if need be. So we're basically just digging for Ox of Agonis right now, is basically all we're doing. Is digging for that. Our opponent, I'm assuming, is Obnath. Which I'll probably just bring in Wear Tear after this matchup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just Obnath. Probably looking for the Graveyard Hate piece. Yeah, we pretty much just need to mill over a Ox of Agonas and then go buck wild. Block. You have to do this ability, so I'm just going to put Prize Amalgam on top. Otherworldly Gaze here. I wonder why they shocked in that Blood Crypt. Spell Pierce? Okay, sure. Whatever. Well, there he is. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. Ox. They don't have access to blue mana. Alright, trigger. You want to stack the Ox first. I guess it really doesn't matter, but you should stack the Ox first. Thug. Dark Blast. Stinkweed Imp. Always yes. Always yield. All right, so we're getting 3 prized amalgams back here. Dredge Gone Wild Volume 2. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're trying for here. We're trying to go buck wild here. And the next turn we can Ox again. Because we can get rid of some of our Dredgers. It's not that big of a deal. Leyline and Binding, sure. Leyline and Binding's not really that scary for us. Again, though, it's worth bringing in Wear Tear. Just because we're seeing cards like Fable and Leyline Binding. But the question is can they go infinite? Because I don't... This Mirror Breaker, like... What is it? Tap 2 and tap it. Create a creature. So, probably not. This isn't like Kiki Jiki. It's different. See, Kiki Jiki can go infinite. I don't think that card can. Spell Pierce non-creature, right? Yeah, cool. Oh, their Indomitable Creativity. I hate this deck. Target non-legendary, right? Okay. So they can't target this thing. Here's the battlefield. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library for each card type you put. We've hit, what, 1 Creeping Chill? Yeah. Our religious, but praying we don't face any Sanctifier and Vex. Yeah, Sanctifier is probably the most brutal card. It's the hardest one for us to deal with. This Indomitable Creativity deck is really stupid. Like, I really don't like this deck. Bolus best you, Pascal. Like 3 mana, just play a 7/7 just seems broken. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The problem is this thing has lifelink, so I don't think we can get around this thing. I think they're going to win just because it has lifelink. Dredge, Dredge, Dredge. All right, they just scoop it. Take that, Indomitable Creativity. Tier 1 deck only. Quitter done joined, thanks. I'm not going to play them again. We'll play somebody else. They should have Hollow Mooned Light in the sideboard, which is bad for us. That's a new one. Yep, I would like to go first. I don't think I want to keep this. I think I want to mulligan this. Hold on, I'm looking for Hollow Moonlight first. Till turn creatures would enter the battlefield if it wasn't cast exile instead. That would be really good. You're right. Okay. Easy win. Easy dubs. Yeah, that Indomitable Creativity deck I'm really not a fan of. Definitely seems pretty obnoxious. This is a weird hand. If you want to count that as a 2-0, yeah. This hand is really weird. Because we have the Otherworldly Gaze that could accelerate us, but then we have double Narcomoeba in hand, which is really historically bad. But we have the mana for Cathartic Reunion. This is a water hand. A watery hand, but I will keep it. We'll see how this goes. This is probably worth a mulligan, but if we can Otherworldly Gaze into something, then yay us. You know what I mean? But we gotta Otherworldly Gaze into something. Probably just gonna put you on top. We don't want to start Cathartic Reunioning until we have like a Dredger or something. So I'm probably just gonna Bloodstain Mire, fetch up a Sacred Foundry tapped, and then just Otherworldly Gaze. So this is Rakdos Scam. Well, there's that Sacred Foundry I want. I'm actually just going to put everything back on top here, because I'm assuming they're going to take Cathartic Reunion. So what I'll do is I'll just draw it. Oh, they didn't have the scam? Okay. Sure. What'd you do? You ditched Feint? What? I think you did that backwards. You're supposed to feign death to grief. Shit. I'm just going to scoop to that. We don't have a way to beat that game 1. It's not even worth trying to fight it. Portable Hole comes in. Gemstone Caverns comes in. City of Brass goes out. Go down 1 Ox. And go down a... Tome Scour. There's an argument if we want Wear Tear, but I think I'm just going to do the Portable Hole. We are weak to Dothy Voidwalker turn 2, that's for sure. I would like to go first. Would like to mulligan this. This hand I'm not in love with. Eat this bottom Narcomoeba. Okay, I was gone for 2 seconds. Who won and why? They turn 2 Dothy Voidwalker. We have no way to deal with that main deck. They're mulliganing aggressively, so my guess they probably have Leyline of the Void, to which we have no answer with. But they have the Grief nonsense. And they have the Ragavan nonsense. Okay, you make our job a little bit easier here. Go get a Blood Crypt. Yep. They probably only have Spell Bomb. Could be. Sterling Discovery here. Yes. Ditch, ditch. Dredge, dredge, dredge. Nothing crazy there. If we can avoid Voidwalker this turn or a Spell Bomb, I'll feel a lot better about our lives. Potentially. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna Ox here because they can't Spell Pierce Ox. I'm assuming they don't have anything for this. Do they? Let's go, baby. Orcish Bowmasters. Orcish Bowmasters doesn't do anything to us because we're not drawing. So, doesn't really matter that much. In theory, right? Let's find out. Yep, that's what I thought. I think they thought they had like a real gotcha moment there. Don't mean shit. All right. I think they realized that too. They were really leaning in for that to be a gotcha moment. Yeah, I'm going to run it back. It's worth noting that we were on the play and we brought in Gemstone Caverns. That is worth noting. I messed up there. I was thinking we won game 1, and that was not the case at all. This hand's really bad if they have a turn 2 Voidwalker. So I think I'm mulligan this. All right. Not in love with any of these hands, but I will keep this. We're going to bottom you. No, cancel. You and you. I can cast you, so I'm going to bottom you. Bottom you 2. Put you down. Exile you. Yield through turn. Cavern is legendary. Yeah, but they get the Thoughtseize here, and now our hand's really bad. But it is what it is. Portable Hole's kind of interesting. Probably going to lose this one. Just bad rolls. Yeah, Fury's not that scary. I mean, it is and it isn't. You know what I mean? Read Duke's article, Thoughtseize you is classic. I haven't read that one, Lotus. That's aggressive. It is a little bit, but I think they're going to win the game because we're too far. We're too far buried here. We don't have anything going on for us, and they're going to hit us too many times. So I'm just going to scoop it up here. Bad variance, game 3. Probably should have just kept a hand, but I was a little bit too leery of like interaction. But that's what you learn, you know. Mulligans can win and lose you games. But that one wasn't very favorable for us, for sure. In that sense. I feel like I was trying to maybe mulligan into Gemstone Cavern so we could try to like turn 2 something, but yeah, I didn't see the scam effect when I wrote my comment. Just Fury the 1/1. Yeah, they had the scam going on. But yeah, probably should have just like kept the Cathartic hand and then just hope for the best. Is probably what I should have done instead of being like, I need Gemstone Cavern to get underneath Thoughtseize Voidwalker. You know what I mean? That's what I probably should have done. Because it was a hand that would have been weak to a Griff scam, but if they didn't have that, the hand probably would have been fine. But yeah, it is what it is. You live and you learn, right? Deck still feels super powerful, though. That's a matchup that's probably worth bringing in Leyline of the Void, actually. To just exile all their shit. This is a bad hand. It's not like the worst, but all right, keep this. Bottom you. Bottom you. Bottom you. I will say Dredge does have some really bad variants, though. I don't like seeing white. Definitely not a fan of white. Gilded Goose? Okay, so this is the Anafinza combo. Yeah, it's a Hobbit combo. So we'll see. This is a deck that we can either be faster than or we're notoriously bad against. What is this? Okay, so you can go infinite squirrely boys. But yeah, this is typically like we either have to like get under their feet ultra fast or we just lose the game kind of matchup. We don't have like a good way to interact with this. I mean, we do have Dark Blast technically, right? But we can't Dark Blast their creatures to death, I don't think. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put on top. We'll see what happens here. Okay. Nothing too crazy with the Perilous Innkeeper. No attacks with Scurry Oak is really kind of weird. I'm gonna fetch here for my Blood Crypt. Shock it in. Let's Otherworldly Gaze here. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put into the fucking graveyard. I'm gonna set a stop on my upkeep. We're gonna upkeep. Dredge Blast that thing. Endurance and Soul Guide. Side 4 cards total. Endurance is not a big deal for us. Soul Guide is, you know what I mean? I have a meeting to attend. We'll be watching, but unable to hear anything. No worries, Lotus. Enjoy your meeting. If you're not already gone for it. Dredge. Shock in. Yield through turn. Our opponent's not really doing anything, which is interesting. But we're not doing anything either, so there is that. Sure. We'll yield until end step because we can't do anything right now. So they get to put a counter on Scurry Oak. Oh, is this infinite right now? This is infinite. Because they put a counter on the oak, creates a token. Alright. You don't gotta show me it's infinite. I can see that. Gemstone Caverns comes in. City of... Okay, they just leave. Whatever then. You had the game. Just go to sideboard. Cool little wombo combo there, though. I don't want to open up trade. That's not where I want to go. I want to go over here. So what are we, 1-1 with the deck right now? Yeah, technically 1-1 with the deck if you don't want to count the drops. Yep, mulligan. Definitely some bad mulligans. That's for sure. Okay, keep this. Bottom you. I hate the bottom otherworldly gaze, but with our mana currently, I'm going to. Don't Rakdos scan me here. Don't Thoughtseize me either. Okay, so we're against another Gilded Goose deck. I don't know how many times I have to bottom cards. You know what I mean? Like, they always come back. Turn off audiodes. Fetch, Sacred Foundry, tapped, untap, upkeep, draw, Ox. Yes. Well, let's start up the thrilling discovery here. One. We hit it once. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're still a couple cards away from Oxing here, but are we just going to get womboed out here? Could potentially just get womboed out here. I don't know what flavor variant like this is though. Currently, I'm gonna assume like the Anafinza one though. Steam Vents is kind of cool. Well, I'm gonna play Steam Vents because we're going to Cathartic Reunion, pitching these two. Wow. Maybe I should have otherworldly gazed first. You know what I mean? Well, you're starting to see some variants of this deck. You saw game match 1 how the deck can just go buck wild, and then now you can also see where it just, I don't know, guys, maybe I'll do some dredging and fill up our graveyard. Just waiting for us to be comboed out here. That's what I'm waiting on. It's worth noting that they might have Corticaling, which can bring up Sanctifier. They're showing white, so turn off auto yields. I don't know why I'm always the auto yielding. If you in battlefield, may search the library for creature value 1 or less, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. I'm going to otherworldly gaze in response. Put into your graveyard. Put into the graveyard. Put into the graveyard. At 1 prized amalgam. That's it. Can't cast non-creature spells. That's fine because we're going to do Ox of Agonas. I think that's how that could work. I don't think they have much main. I don't think so either. But we could just get comboed out, which is a huge concern. But we also have 3 Creeping Chills left in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Ox of Agona's here. Let's see if they play this smartly here. One Stinkweed Imp. One Thug. One Dark Blast. Still didn't hit very much, did we? They could have Soulless Jailer on the side. I don't know what that is. My guess is Sanctifier. Probably. I'm waiting to see if they sack this Ranger, because when they do, we'll in response. Vizier. We get back a lot of critters. Soulless Jailer, 2 artifact creature, Phyrexian Golem, permanent cards in graveyards can't in a battlefield. Players can't cast non-creature spells from the graveyard exile. That's definitely annoying. They're down to 5. Alright, they just scoop it up. Okay, cool. I was like, we have the combo there. So the question is their combo, does it target us? You know? The Ranger of Eos. I've seen this deck pop up a lot. Let's look at the meta real quick. Could be Asmo food. Although I don't think so. This isn't like a big deck. That's surprising. I've come across this a bunch, but it's not like a big... It's like not even in the meta. That's super surprising. Oh, Devoted combo. There it is. Found it. Ballista, obviously, that blocks it. Cauldron Familiar? No. Leyline doesn't stop Cauldron Familiar. Those are the 3. So the question now becomes, what do we want in the sideboard? Well, obviously, like Gemstone's Caverns comes in. Go out the City of Brass. Portable Hole, I'm not that excited with. Wear Tear. Could just bring in Portable Hole. Going down 1 Ox and 1 Tome Scour. Trying that. Don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they have, right? Modern Day. What's up, Marco? Yep, I'm doing Modern every once in a while because I'm going to the Apex Gaming Modern tournament. So this is not a bad hand. Keep. Play you. There's actually an argument for just playing both of them and then pitching the 2 lands. Oh, it's legendary. Duh. Not bad. Yeah. Stop by to say good morning. What's up, Darius? How's it going, buddy? Thank you for the good luck. Good morning to you, my friend. think I'm actually going to fetch with Bloodstained Mire here. Just to get a land out of our deck. Pretty good. Now keep that popped out. Always yes, always yield. Yes. Always yes, always yield. Tired of my dad just woke me up. Apparently he needs something. No worries. That's it. Yep. Turn 2 kill. Got there. He needs you to hold the flashlight under the hood of the car, Darius. Yeah, Marco, that's what I'm doing occasionally. This is keepable. I'm doing a little bit of modern to practice up. I'm probably gonna play 8-rack at the tournament, but I am like trying out Dredge, seeing how it runs. And it's running pretty good. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of impressed. Upkeep. I should have just Steam Vents because City of Brass gives away exactly probably what we're doing. Like, I think the only 2 decks that run City of Brass is Dredge and Ad Nauseam. My guess, so this is Zoo. Domainy Zoo. Put it into Graveyard. Yeah. Put it into Graveyard. Put it into Graveyard. Upkeep. Dredge. Steam Vents. Shock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we don't have enough to flashback. The flashback Ox of Agonas yet. I mean, exile it. What's up, David? I got a Dimir list for you. Okay. Hit me up. Is it Pauper or Modern? Imagine playing Mill against Dredge. Yeah, so what you do, it's actually a really tricky matchup. Modern. Yeah, what do you got for oh, Dimir Mill. I just read Dimir list. Okay, yeah. That's actually really like a really strange matchup for this deck. Because like you basically don't dredge yourself, you let them dredge you and then just hope your deck works. It's a really strange matchup. It's really tricky. Like it's actually like really hard to play around. Oh, I'm the one taking mechanics classes. I get to yell at him. There you go. That's a good trait. I wish I knew more stuff about like mechanical like cars and stuff. I don't. I wish I did though. Next turn we Ox here. Is Shaft's list? What's Shaft's list? Yeah, Mill though is weird. It's a really tricky matchup. But it's not impossible. I'm just gonna attack this Teferi. There's like no point of letting them keep it, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I really messed that up. I should have conflagrated instead of Ox here. Conflagrate's the bigger payoff than Ox is. So I should have done that instead. But we're gonna hit him so low here that we can pretty much get the conflagrate kill next turn. That mill guy? Oh, yeah. That's like all he plays modern is Demir Mill. Yeah, I've seen him play Mill. That's a hell of a turn 3 though. Alright. Gemstone Caverns comes in. I'm not even sure this is Zoo. I'm not even sure what our opponent's exactly doing. Popping off, yeah. I might just run it back the way it is and then just see what they have for Graveyard Hate. Sometimes I do that with this deck. If you get the game 1, you can experiment with game 2 a little bit. I have another Caverns hand. This is a mulligan. This is not great, but it's keepable. 1, 2, 3. It's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna exile Stinkweed Imp. Might be better than 8-rack. Typically it is a stronger power level than 8-rack, but it's not as consistent as 8-rack. 8-rack's much more consistent. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this list would be green heavy. Yeah. It used to be when Troll used to be a thing. But Troll is not a thing no more. I also messed up there. Because oh no, there's no creature to target, never mind. Dredge is also like a mulligan deck where it's like, do you mulligan this or do you not mulligan this? It's weird. It's possible since Dredge isn't very meta now, so probably less Graveyard Hate. There is a little bit less Graveyard Hate for sure. That was a bad draw. I'm just gonna play Narcomoeba. Targeting your own Narcomoeba might be the play. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing. Fetch, Shock In, Blood Crypts. My guess they're gonna Lightning Bolt my poor little Narcomoeba. Now they're gonna reprieve it. That's interesting. So this could just very well be Zoo. This could be Domain Zoo. But yeah, so plus I kind of like 8-rack a little bit better. It's a little bit more fun. Ashiok kills this deck. Yeah, Ashiok's rough. One of the Ashioks is. Stop. I'm still convinced this is Zoo, though. My bad, that could work like in my head. Ren 6 is annoying, but not the most broken. Yeah. We've had some bad mulligans. Oh, it's fucking creativity again. I hate this stupid fucking deck. I really don't like playing against this deck. It's such a boring deck to me. Do your thing. At least Domain Zoo would have been fun. This deck's just annoying. Well, you have the upkeep Dark Blast kill one of their dwarfs, though. Wait, it could. If you tap for mana, play the land, then you could play both Narco, then Blast? No, because my other land... Before, my other land was Gemstone Caverns. It would come in colorless. There's a significant decrease in graveyard hate. It's certainly reasonable to make a meta call and run Dredge. Could, but the thing is, it cost me some money to upgrade. Anywho, gotta go help my dad. Good luck. Thank you, Darius. Hopefully you have a good time helping your dad. Oh, fucking Teferi. Teferi's so annoying. Yes, but if you tap the lands first, play the gemstone, tapped it for colorless, you would have... Yeah, I mean, that's true, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think our hand was too bad to get out from underneath us anyway. So, kind of just waiting for them to end Dominal Creativity, which we're not dead out of the gate to Archeon. Yep. We're not entirely dead to this, but we're not in a good spot either. Otherworldly Gaze here. Put it in the graveyard. Put it in the graveyard. Put it in the graveyard. Unfortunately, Creeping Chill exiles itself. So, doesn't really fill up the graveyard for Ox here, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to go ahead and Dark Blast that thing, because it'll make us discard our hand anyway. We're not like 100% out of this game, but like, you know what I mean? We're not exactly in like a super awesome stellar spot either. I don't like this Indomitable Creativity deck though. I think it's super obnoxious. From my personal standpoint, just like ugh. Attack me for 6. Sure. We're almost guaranteed an Ox here, though. Unless they have some kind of counter magic or graveyard hate. Holy shit, we hit nothing but good stuff. Well, still got an Ox here. Three, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. Can't really do much with prized amalgams. We're on the dredge to hit the last 2 creeping chills and conflagrate. That's what we're doing. But even then, I think we're dead. Because they got to gain 3 life off of Archeon. So, it's a long shot here. Hit a lot of Narcomoebas, though. All right. I had the Hollow Moonlight. So out, in. Just gonna run it back. We don't really have a good way to deal with what they're doing. I don't think anything here is worth doing anything for. Yeah, I think Indomitable Creativity is a pretty obnoxious card. For 3 mana, just get like huge top end cards. Wonder why they don't Emrakul. Wonder why they don't play Emrakul with that. Why is it Archeon or the other guy? Why don't they play Emrakul? Does anybody know? Technically 4. Yeah. But yeah, why did they play that instead of like Emrakul? Just curious. Oh, because it's non-legendary, isn't it? It's a non-legendary creature, right? No, because they got a legendary the last time. They just hardcast that? No, I have to read the card, I guess. Wow, this is cool. Just straight up mulligan to Oblivion hands. We mulligan so much. One, 2, 3, 4. Kion is better against control because they enter the battlefield? Yeah, probably. Steam vents. Put in the graveyard. Put into the graveyard. I wouldn't actually mind drawing this. We're actually going to get the Tome Scour here. It is worth noting we don't get our prized amalgam back till our next end step. So there's an argument for like main board, like main turn, doing it to get the... You can actually attack with Emrakul because on the cast trigger, doesn't trigger Archeon. Has value on inner battlefield. Yeah, I guess. Just weird. That used to be the thing in Modern, was cheating out Emrakul, not Archeon, you know? How times have changed. You're going to Spell Pierce that? Why wouldn't you Spell Pierce? Otherworldly Gaze is better than Tome Scour. That's my argument there. Counterspell. Reprieve. So I feel like eventually I got to do something with this prized amalgam, right? They just have the turn 4 Indomitable Creativity here. Doesn't guarantee them anything. That probably does, though. All right, I'm just going to scoop to that. Well, the problem there is just the mulligans. See, 8 rack's much more consistent than what Dredge is. Dredge can have like crazy power, but you can have just some really horrendous draws because of how the deck is. You basically want in your opening hand a couple mana, at least one Dredger, and an Accelerant card, right? And you've seen multiple times us not having any of those, so I'm going to assume the deck, you probably can't go below 5. I have before, and it's like paid off for me, but a little bit more on the rarer side. So, this one will probably have to be the last game, because I got to run to the post office. I don't know how I feel about this hand. I'm going to keep it just because of Tome Scour. We'll just see how this goes. Tron. Okay. Tron is 50-50. Nothing but land. Holy shit. It's so bad. Sigma Signet. That's interesting. They have the One Ring now. Yeah, I've never actually played against the One Ring, so I'm not entirely sure how that works. This is not good, Tron. I don't know, they still turn 3'd it. Still getting a turn 3. Oh, what is this? Alright. I guess it doesn't have haste, right? That's probably a Cathartic Reunion, right? Yep. Damn. All right. Budgetron 1%. They don't have a place out of the ring, maybe. But this is super annoying. They probably have Relics main deck too. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm a little confused what's going on here. Well, let's get Dark Blast back into the graveyard here. And I'm just going to get rid of Steam Vents and Scalding Tarn here. We have basically one turn to find something here. Nope. Yep. This is modern. It's good luck. Fuck my life. Yeah, pretty much. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put on top. And then we don't dredge next turn. Oh, we don't have the mana. Never mind. We're dead. Okay. Doesn't matter. Gemstone's Cavern. Take out City of Brass. Just gonna run it like that. Well, go fuck yourself. Yeah, this has been rough. This is mediocre. I think this is more keepable. And I'm gonna bottom you. Upkeep. Let's draw and we'll lead on Otherworldly Gaze to try to find another land. Did we just lose to Tron? Pretty much. That's what I'm saying. This deck has bad variants. It always has. It's fun, but it's always had really bad variants. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put on top. Put on top. Grave. Grave. Probably gonna have Spell Pierce here. No, they don't. Dinky, Dark Blast. That's it? Okay. And we drew the Stinkweed Imp off of it. Fucking awesome. Upkeep, flashback, Otherworldly Gaze here. Grave, grave, grave. Draw off a Thug. Get a Creeping Chill and nothing else. Attack you for 3. Probably just gonna conflagrate next turn. We don't have any other dredges in the graveyard either, so probably just gonna do that. Just conflagrate them for a bunch. Unexpected results. Get to sucker a Tri-Belter. Sure. Our opponent's deck is weird. Of course, we draw a Stinkweed Imp. One, two, 6. Six. 5 mana Tri-Builder. Let's go. Right. All right, they got the Tron assembled. If they have a way to deal with our lands on board, that's game. Nope. Notice he could basically be playing Pauper with his deck. I know, right? Stinkweed Imp. Still no Oxes of Agonis? Fucking really? Okay. Your opponent has all the mana in the world. And we have not been able to hit anything like worthwhile. What is this? For 9? They decide not to. Step 1, make fun of opponent deck. Step 2, lose. I never made fun of it. I've been fearful of it this whole time. I did. Whoa, what is this? Draw 3 cards, then discard a card. Blasted Genius deals damage equal to the discard card mana value. Well, we might lose to this. Blight Steel Colossus. Potentially just shy of losing. Bane of the Baliaged. Okay. We're pretty much just looking for Ox of Agonis or lose here. Finally. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Put in the graveyard. Get a Narcomoeba. Doesn't really matter that much. We should have, yeah, we still have 2 Creeping Chills in deck, so we just dredge ourselves out pretty much here. The best to our abilities. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I thought I typed 8, but I guess not. Alright, Ox should hopefully seal the fate. Stinky, stinky, stinky. There it is. Alright, cool. Was that it? We went 1-1, right? Whatever. Anyway, that's been Dredge. I still think the deck is super powerful. We've seen the deck just pop off. Our total record was... That's a wash. So we went... What did we go? 2, 2, 1 is what our record be. We lost to Indomitable Creativity twice, right? What deck was theirs? The Rakdos Scam. So we lost to Scam and Creativity. Creativity just feels like a matchup if we can get underneath their feet. It is worth noting they didn't 2-0 us. If we can get underneath their feet, that's good. With this salmon slap, what were they? Oh, they were the Gilded Goose combo. Also, yeah, I feel like the ones we lost, if we could get underneath their feet, we'd probably be better off. But let's talk about the deck real quick. Yeah, I know I could play this at the tournament over 8 rack. I'm fully aware of that. I like 8 rack better. I think Dredge is still good. I'm going to play some more 8 rack. I'm also going to try the Domain Zoo deck I have, not what's currently being played, but the one that I have built to see how it runs, just because I don't have to pay any money for it, because that deck's really fun too. It has a pet card of mine in it. But in terms of Dredge, yeah, it still feels pretty good, honestly. I'd watch an 8 rack stream for sure. Alex, I have you. I have good news for you. There's several of them up on my channel. I'm probably going to do Modern one more time this week, just because getting toward closer to the tournament, I'm going to ramp up a little bit on Modern. But yeah, there's some 8 rack content on my channel for sure. Recently, like I know I streamed it last week. But when it comes to Dredge and dredging, I still think the deck is super powerful. There's an argument for running Gemstone Caverns game 1. So if you lose the dice roll, or you just put on the play and you just Gemstone Caverns, I definitely think that's something you could do. Tome Scour was okay. It's not bad. Not in love with it, but it's not bad either. Otherworldly Gaze, ever since that card came out, I've been running it in Dredge. I think it's fantastic. Rest of the deck's good. I don't have any complaints. Glad to see Flag Rate's back. Conflagrate has been out of the deck for a little while. Glad it's back. Sideboard wise, seems fairly straightforward. Pretty typical what I've seen in Dredge before. But this deck just boils down to variance. This deck has always had a variance issue where it can run super hot and you get turn 2, turn 3 kills, but then it can also just meander and piddle out. We saw I mulliganed a bunch. I've always mulliganed a lot with Dredge, but you saw some of the really bad hands, and sometimes I'll admit I probably mulliganed where I shouldn't have. The Rakdos scam deck, game 3, really comes to mind. I mulliganed probably more than I should have. I probably should have just kept the one hand that I had. But what are you going to do, right? So that's a thing to just take into consideration with this deck. Opening hand-wise, you probably want 1 or 2 lands, some kind of cantrip, some kind of accelerant, right? You want you want like a perfect opening hand would be like 2 lands, Cathartic Reunion, and like 2 Stinkweed Imps, and then whatever else to just really fire off. But like you can get away with having like Otherworldly Gaze, you can get away with, other things for sure. But that's the thing, is this deck has a wide variance that has something. It's always been something that, like, I think has been a little bit rough. Ever since Faithless Looting and Golgari Grave Troll got banned, this deck has been much more inconsistent. And because of that, I also think that's why it's a little bit out on the fringe of the tier system and not quite right there. You know what I mean? I still think this deck is super powerful. I definitely think this could be situated in a format where Graveyard Hate isn't as prevalent. It's also worth noting one of the best decks in the format right now is Living End. So that calls in a lot of Graveyard Hate. Same Graveyard Hate that preys on us. But they also have to have that Graveyard Hate, right? We're much faster than Living End in theory. But, you know what I mean? I'm still leaning toward 8 rack. I doubt I do Dredge just because Gemstone Caverns. I don't have Gemstone Caverns. I don't have City of Brass. I also don't have Leyline of Sanctities. But between Gemstone Caverns, I don't think City of Brass is a whole lot, but like just the Gemstone Caverns alone is super expensive in paper, so I'm probably not leaning toward Dredge, but I also wanted to play Dredge to see how it's situated. But I think we're in a spot in a meta with Dredge where I think Gemstone Caverns is a necessity. I think it's very important for Gemstone Caverns to be here because it is just a powerhouse card. So I think we want Gemstone Caverns for sure. But any bedoozle, I want to thank you all for hanging out. Tomorrow I'm going to be playing some Pauper. Not entirely sure what I'm playing yet. I'm leaning toward I'm leaning toward a deck that I've been wanting to play for a while over doing a user submitted deck, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So we'll see. But anyway, if you want to support the channel, you can consider becoming a member at 99 cents a month. Get you access to our community Discord server along with custom emotes, your name at the beginning and the end of stream, and your name turns green. You get a little badge icon next to it. All for, the low price of 99 cents. If you want to support the channel for free, the best way to do so is by subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. All that goes a long way to helping the channel out. And I will catch you all hopefully tomorrow. So take it easy, everybody. See you later.